यद् भूतं यस्य भावयम् अंतरांगुत तत्वस्यानो यद्नित नाति रोति आस्तं समर्पयामि। ओम विक्रा दुर्वा उत्कृष्ट आदर्श अद्भुता ततो विश्वं वैक्रात्मानेन अभि अर्थ समर्पयामि। अस्य प्राण प्रसितुम अये प्राण संभुज्य अये देवत्वं देवत्वमर्ताय महति तद आदि न पश्चात्। ओम पुरुष एव सर्वं यद्भूतं यस्य भावनं भूता त्व शरणो यद्नेति मा तिरोति आसनं समर्पयामि। ओम त्रिपदा दुर्वां पुरुष अदस्य भवत् पुनः ततो विश्वं व्याप्तमस्यानेन हि समर्पयामि। नहीं खाने ना उन्हें मुझे खाना नहीं तो दूसरा एक बार मुझे लगता है दिखाने के लिए फैशन शो पे बहुत प्रयोग विराजो अस्ति पुरुषं न जातो अथ विच पाशाद भूमि मधो पुरः समर्पयामि।
बताना रसा तो
भरते हैं, खाली पड़ा होता है।
कविता दी फिर आ गया है ट्रेनिंग का सहोदिया वाला ज्वाइन कर
अरे
लिया।
हमको देना है स्कूल में। हम वही सोचे कि मेरा पर्स में से 500 रुपया निकला कैसे। वही करेंगे, बहुत दिन से सोच रहे हैं संडे को कर। हमको टाइम ही नहीं मिलता, हम करें क्या।
हर चीज का पता है तुमको लिखना चाहिए
है ना?
मेरे पास इतना सोना का नहीं है, मेरे पास इतना खाएगी कोई कुछ सारा गायब बकरी
Very good evening, everyone. We'll be waiting for 2-3 more minutes for the others to join, and then we'll start. Very good evening, everyone. I think I'm audible to all of you. Okay, so teachers, as you could see in my screen, that today we are going to deal with the topic role of theater and drama in classroom. It is actually one of the most important topic to be understood in the present era, because in the present era, we all are trying to move ahead of the traditional teaching method and adapting the new methods of teaching. So theater and drama has a significant role to play, and so that we can make the teaching learning process in the present generation to be easy. So before we proceed, let us know about the objectives of this webinar. The students will learn about the importance of self-expression. The students will be equipped with key critical thinking skills, performance skills, speaking and writing skills, and public speaking skills. It will help the student to develop empathy, tolerance, social awareness, cooperation, and collaboration with the fellow students, as well as communication and the concentration skills. It will also accelerate personality development. They will learn about the value of problem solving in every situation. It will also teach the student to don the hat of a leader and imbibe central skills pertaining to leadership and teamwork. In addition to that, there are a few more objectives that we are going to accomplish by the end of this session, how we are going to use it for the students. Like the students will become better learners if we adapt theater and drama in the teaching learning process. They will learn to empathize with other social elements. With the spirit of co-working, they will develop an attitude of co-learning. Using their leadership skills, they will help at resolving the conflicts at the micro level and at a larger level as well in society. Having understood the core of education, they will devise the methods for creative learning. The students will be able to yield better results and act as catalysts for the change in society. The students will comprehend the difference between education and experience. And this is something which is the most important. Now, to begin with, teachers, there is an American proverb which you could see in my screen. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I may not remember. Involve me and I'll understand. Of course, teachers, when something is being told to us, we tend to forget it many a times. Even after seeing, even after visualizing, many a things becomes very difficult for us to remember. But when we are being involved into something from the foundation level, of course, in the accomplishment of that particular task, in each and every step when we are being involved, we are never going to forget that. And the theater and the drama is actually doing this. When we involve them in theater and drama in all the subjects, then of course the students are never going to forget what they have learned. Now, an overview of the drama and theater. The blend of drama, art, and education has been there since time Plato started his academy. He believed that informing a student just about the concept is not enough. Of course, when we just inform the students about the concept, it is not enough. But drama and theater, they are both pivotal outlets for self-expression. And using drama as a teaching tool, students are involved in every way, be it intellectually, physically, social, or emotionally. So most of the time we see that we just give them the concept but then that is not enough. Only by giving the concept, they do not remember it forever and ever. But then they are being involved in a particular task, they remember it forever and ever, and it creates a very deep impact on them. And their development is being done in all the aspects, whether it is intellectually, physically, social, or emotionally. Moving ahead. Now, as the topic says, the role of theater and drama. So let us first deal with the word drama. Drama, the term drama, it comes from the Greek word meaning action, which is derived from I do, an action, movement, any kind of movement. And of course, when the children are sitting on the other side and the teachers are standing on the other side of the classroom, it becomes very monotonous for them most of the time. But when there is action going on, they get involved in doing the things. It is something which is a lifetime learning. They will never forget what they have done. So, as the definition says, a drama is the portrayal of fictional and non-fictional events through the performance of writing dialogue, of course, either in prose or poetry. Drama combines the literary art of storytelling and poetry with the world of live performance. It has served to unite communities and challenge social norms. And there are major elements of the drama, of course, which include the theme, the plot, the characters, the dialogue, the settings, the performance, music, the visual effect, all these things when it is combined together, and then it is being transformed into a beautiful drama. And as you can see on the screen, teachers, it is very famous, the two masks which is associated with the drama. They represent the traditional generic division between comedy and tragedy. As you can see that one picture, it is one mask which depicts the smiling face, which is used for comedy, and the other mask which is being used, the face is very sour, this face is not so happy. Okay, there is a sense of loss in the face which could be seen, and that is which depicts tragedy. Moving ahead. Now, any kind of drama, when we talk about any kind of act which goes on, there is a plot to it. First and foremost is the exposition. Exposition is what? It is the beginning of the story that introduces the conflict, the character, the setting. In this, the character is being introduced to us. The conflict is being introduced to us. We see the setting. We come to know about the setting. Then comes the second stage of any kind of work, any kind of story, any kind of drama, any kind of dramatization, whether it is in the theater, whether it is in the classroom. But then this is the falling, the rising and the falling sequence, and how it comes to the end of the drama. Likewise, and the second stage is the rising action. The events before the climax, the characters attempt to solve the problem, but then they fail. And then comes the turning point, which is known as the climax. And that climax is often summed up as the greatest suspense or the action. Then comes the falling action, the action and the events that occur after the climax. After the climax, it comes, and then the main time for which we await a lot. And that is the part where there is resolution, which is the end of the story, where the conflict or the problems are being solved. And most of the time, we find that there is a happy ending to it. Moving ahead. Now, this is very, very important, that how do we use drama in classroom? Now, Putting on plays for audience is not what is meant by using drama in the classroom. Now, most of the time we think, teachers, that we'll put something on the screen and the students will learn through that. That is just visual. That is just audio. That is just visual. But then the most important thing is that when we are not involving them in whatever we are doing, it is not going to create a lifetime learning for them. Instead, the goal is to teach the co-curricular areas using the drama. Now, our goal is that we need to teach them the co-curricular areas using the drama. Language arts. Now, most of the time, teachers, when we talk about drama, we often think that it is limited to literature. It is limited to literature, but drama can be easily and successfully used in the teaching and learning of social studies, science, and all the other subjects. Drama is actually it is very effective in making a historical event come alive for the events. Now, I'll show you a video where we could see that how we can use drama in the teaching learning process of social studies and science, which is most often not being taught by the teachers. They think that when it is drama, it is always related to literature, Hindi literature, English literature, but we can use dramatization method in the teaching of all these subjects. So let us see this video.
We have talked about the particle theory before, so we're going to be acting it out today. So it's like a filled space. Kind of space. Just a lot together. So maybe space.
Dance has worked really well, and I find that all of my students, including students who are on IEPs and special programs, they can grasp that concept when I take them through the dance.
A solid effort.
It kind of helped me with doing the dance because you actually...
4 molecules. The first thing I'd like you to do, as soon as I say dance, molecule dance, the light goes on again. They remember that. They may not remember the picture in the textbook, they may not remember the paragraphs that went along with the picture explaining the concept, but they remember the dance. The question I want you to answer is, it has 2 parts to it. Did this help you learn something about molecules and the way they behave? The second, information from the interview. Then we rotate. so that each person in the group has the opportunity to play the historical person, historical figure, and also be the interviewer and the reporter. With the three-step interview, I wanted to give them an opportunity to learn some information through drama.
I'm the wife of Christopher Columbus.
I'm Christopher Columbus's mother.
And I'm Queen Isabella I.
I was really pleased with how thoroughly the students wanted to research. I actually extended the process because they became immersed in their research, not just through the textbooks, but they also were going online and finding information through the board's website as well as others. And it also gave me a chance to talk to them about what are trustworthy websites to get information from and what are websites you need to be careful with.
We were reporting live from Spain on April 6, 1503. Oh, here she comes now. Hello. Hi.
What is your name?
My name is Suzanne Fortunarosa, mother of Christopher Columbus.
The Christopher's mother is sort of wearing all white because that's what we found pictures on.
In 1451, I gave birth to Christopher, the oldest of my 5 children. My other children are Bartholomew, Giovanni Pellegrino, Biancanetta, and Diego.
Do you agree with this theory of the world being spherical?
Yes, I do now, after his voyage.
Were you really proud of your son when you found out that he would be sailing to try and find, well, India?
Yes, I was proud, especially that the Queen took part and helped him. What is your name?
My name is Donna Philippa Moniz Perestrela, wife of Christopher Columbus.
Who supported Christopher with his theories and wishes to go sailing?
I, of course, supported Christopher, for he is my husband. His mother, Suzanne, also supported him, although at first she thought he was just imagining silly things.
How do you think Christopher's voyages changed what people thought of the shape of Earth?
I think that some people found that the world was spherical and not flat. What's your name?
My name is Queen Isabella I.
When did you take the throne?
I took the throne in 1474.
What do you think of the Indians Christopher brought back from Spain?
People were using the Indians as slaves. I do not agree at all. Once I saw that, I returned them back to the New World and set them free. I wanted all Indians to be treated fairly.
What made you decide to sponsor his voyage?
So teachers, here we could see that how we can use the method of drama in the teaching of social studies and science as well. We can you see how the students have become molecules themselves, and the concept of molecule was so clear to them. And then when the students have themselves become the historical characters, they would never forget that which historical character that particular person was, and they would ever remember that in their lives. Moving ahead, now there are 4 major types of the drama. When we talk of the drama, there are 4 major types of the drama. The first is comedy, the second is tragedy, the third is melodrama, and the fourth is tragicomedy. Let us see the description of these. Now, the comedy, they are lighter in tone and they are intended to make the audience laugh, usually come to a happy ending. Comedies place offbeat characters in usual situations, causing them to do and say funny things. Comedy can also be sarcastic in nature, poking fun at serious topics. There are also several subgenres of comedy, including the romantic comedy, the sentimental comedy, the comedy of manners, and the comedy horror. Now, when we talk about the comedy, romantic comedy, most of us are very much aware of the romantic comedy. We have seen so many movies of where there is romance as well as comedy. That is what is romantic comedy. When we talk about the sentimental comedy, the comedy in which sentiments are also included, that is what is sentimental comedy. But when we talk about the comedy of horror, again, there are many examples of comedy of horror, like the romantic comedy. If we talk about the movies, the recent movies in Hindi, which we could easily connect, like the comedy, romantic comedy, like the movie Lal Singh Chadda, that is a romantic comedy. The movie Bhool Bhulaiya, that is a horror comedy. The movie Raksha Bandhan, which is very recent one, that is a sentimental comedy. But I must say that when we talk about comedy of manners, there is always doubt in the manners. Comedy of manners, that it is something which often satirizes the manners and the affectations of the contemporary society. Like most of the people in the contemporary society, we see they are very pretentious. Okay, so we've through the comedy of manners, the light has been thrown on these people. You know, many of the people believe that the comedy of manners has first been commenced in the 18th century. But actually, the first comedy of manners was already been written by William Shakespeare. His Much Ado About Nothing, which was already published in the 16th century, it is a very good example of the comedy of manners. Moving ahead. Now, here I wanted to show you a video based on the comedy of manners, a very short one. Okay, so we see, teachers, that a comedy of manner is basically concerned with the social usage, and it questions whether or not characters meet certain social standards. Moving ahead, what is a tragedy? Now, tragedy is, of course, based on the darker themes. The word is only tragic. It portrays serious subjects like death, disaster, human suffering in a dignified and thought-provoking way. Rarely enjoying happy endings, characters in tragedies like Shakespeare's Hamlet are often burdened by tragic character that flaws that ultimately lead to their demise. Now, most of the time we see in the tragedies that it ends in a very tragic manner. It ends in a demise. Apart from Hamlet, teachers, there are various other examples of the tragedy like Julius Caesar, Antony and Cleopatra, Romeo and Juliet, Macbeth, and many others. And all these have been the best tragedies of all eras. Now, this is again very interesting. This is a melodrama. Now, what is melodrama? It is the most important and it is the most interesting type of drama. It is an exaggerated form of drama, and it depicts classic one-dimensional characters such as heroes and heroines and villains dealing with sensational, romantic, and often perilous situations. Now, just lend me your ears a little more. And when I talk about melodrama, it is actually intended to appeal the emotion of the audience. Let me give you a very simple example of this. Now, for example, my pen was there and I have kept my pen on my table. We being the teachers, pen is the most important thing. It is the vital, significant thing for us. Okay, so I have, for example, I have kept the pen on the table and I went somewhere. When I came back, I did not find my pen. And I said that I'm just unable to trace my pen, which was lying on the table. That's drama. And when I said, I'm just unable to trace my pen, which was lying on the table, that's drama. But when I say, oh my God, my pen, it was just kept on my table. It's nowhere been found now. That's what is melodrama. When you overreact to something, it's an exaggerated form of drama. That is what we say. So when you enact more than what is required, that is what is termed as melodrama. Moving ahead, that again, what I have already given you the example, there is one short video again to share, which can even clarify you more about the melodramas. And it will also depict the difference between the drama and melodrama.
Oh, no, my phone. Oh, my screen is cracked. Well, today's canceled. I'm gonna have to somehow get it repaired, which means I have to go across town and I have to figure out some way to pay for it because rent is due soon.
Whoa, hey, it's just a phone. You can get it fixed. You don't have to be so melodramatic.
Melodramatic? That might have been a little dramatic, but not melodramatic. This is melodramatic. Oh, my phone! What am I going to do? I'm helpless. I'm hopeless. I'm worthless without my phone. I don't have time for this. I don't have money for this. I can't use my phone to figure out how to fix my phone. What am I gonna do? What a world, what a world. Melodramatic.
Okay, well, since your phone is broken, maybe we can, I don't know, have a conversation?
Okay, sure.
All right, what's the difference between dramatic and melodramatic?
I mean, this is what I know. Dramatic literally means relating to a drama, like a film, TV show, or play that has to do with some very serious topics, like death, loss, social conflict.
Cell phones.
But metaphorically, something dramatic is very striking and moving and, yes, showing a lot of emotion.
Okay, so what's melodramatic?
Over the top. Extra. Melodramatic is the next level dramatic.
Definitely not mellow.
It comes from melodrama, which is a drama that has exaggerated characters and sensational plots, like a soap opera or one of those cheesy made-for-TV movies.
Hey, I kind of like those. Ooh, have you ever seen the one where the daughter kills her brother and father and runs away with her mother?
Let me look that up on my phone.
Not gonna say it. Not gonna say it.
So we have seen how the girl was being melodramatic and how she reacted when she was just dramatic. So that is, melodramatic is something when you are over the top. That is what is melodramatic. Moving ahead, teachers. Yeah. The next category of drama is tragicomedy. Now, tragicomedy is a literary device used in fictional work. It contains, of course, both tragedy and comedy, because the name only depicts tragicomedy. So tragedy as well as comedy. Mostly the characters in tragicomedy are exaggerated, and sometimes there might be a happy ending after a series of unfortunate events. It is incorporated with jokes throughout the story just to lighten the tone. One of the best example of tragicomedy's, teachers, do you know, is Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot. It is a two-act play, and it is the best example of the tragicomedy. It is a play where there are only two main characters. One is Vladimir, who who's also known as Didi, and the other one is Estragon, who's also known as Gogo. And they engage themselves in a variety of discussions and encounters while awaiting the titular Godot, who never arrives. This drama, it contains many excitements and many comic elements, but everything is dependent on the suffering of the character. And hence, the laughter in this play is bitter, which is one of the fundamental things which is found in a tragicomedy. So, moving ahead, farce. Now, farce. Farce is a type of a broad comedy, and it depends less on a narrative storyline and more on physical humor and silly jokes. There are the parts of the farcical comedy like the exaggerated humor, nonsensical storyline, improbable events, one or two settings. Humor is often crude and inappropriate. I don't know how many of you might have seen, but there was a movie in the year 1994, Dumb and Dumbos, which is a very good example of farce. And wherein we find that the farcical and the absurd enactment of Jimmy Carrey. And it is a broad comedy, all nonsensical storyline, improbable events, humor is very inappropriate. So it is in such a way. And in Hindi cinema, when we talk about it, there are examples like Go Goa Gone, Golmaal, Hera Fairy. All these can be the examples of farce comedy, where the humor is also inappropriate and it is complete nonsense, and improbable events are there. There are very little settings, and for that reason, it has been considered to be as a broad comedy. Now, we have just one small video related to farce.
Where are you? Oh, Sylvia! Oh, no! Oh!
And if you look up, you'll notice a one-of-a-kind lighting fixture.
Yeah, sure, it's very fancy, but where is Sylvia? I thought she'd be here. They said.
Section 5, you've invited guests, an informational tour.
You said you were my humble servant.
Ah, see, I'm actually your humble servant at the request of the man I am truly a humble servant to.
Who's this important weirdo giving away servants?
The prince.
The prince is giving me a servant.
Of course, monsieur, you're his guest.
But I've never even met the prince. Oh, geez, I gotta get that checked out.
Do you remember a palace guardsman who came to visit Sylvia?
You talking to me?
I am. Yes. Well, that guard found Sylvia charming, and he went and told the prince, and he went and fell in love with her.
But that's not possible. I'm the one who's in love with her.
Which is why, pursuant to Chapter 25, Section 7, the prince is prepared to make you an offer.
An offer?
How would you like to have 2 very fancy French houses?
How would that work?
You get a house in town and a house in the country.
Well, that's just dumb. Who would live in town while I'm in the country?
Your servants.
But I want to live in both houses.
You can't be in 2 places at once.
Well, then who's going to move my furniture back and forth every week? That makes no sense at all.
This may be slower than I expected.
No, I get that a lot.
So this was one of the best example of farce. Moving ahead. Now, what is theater? The word theater is derived from the Greek theomai, meaning to see. Theater is a collaborative form of performing art that uses live performers to present the experience of a real and imagined event before a live audience in a specific place, and often that specific place is the stage. The performers may communicate this experience to the audience through combinations of gesture, speech, song, music, dance. These are the vital things which is being required when everybody is doing the enactment in the theater. Theater is about examination and resolution of the fundamental human issues and is built on understanding and presenting interactions between people. Of course, when we are there in the theater, we are able to understand, we are able to interact, we are able to comprehend the things easily because it is all happening live. And you know, teachers, theater, it can be categorized into 4 basic forms: the arena stage theater, the thrust stage theater, the end stage theater, and the flexible stage theater. Now let us discuss further about all these varied kinds of theaters. Okay, so as you can see on my screen that there is a picture of the arena theater on the top. It is a theater which is round, and we also call it a central staging. This is a central staging, and there is a space in the center, and the audience surrounds the theater from all the four sides. This type of theater is termed as the arena theater, or also the central staging. The second picture, if you could see, that is the thrust stage, thrust theater. Now, what is the difference between the two? If you could see in the first picture, teachers, the stage was in the center. It was in the center, and the audience surrounded from all the four sides. But in the second picture, the thrust, it is commonly found theater, but then it has an elevated stage. You could see that there is an elevated stage over there. And in most of the fashion shows, we see that thrust stage is being used. Like it is having an elevated stage, and then from the three sides, the audience sits from all the three sides. So this is the basic difference between arena theater and thrust stage. Arena from all the four sides, thrust stage where the stage is being elevated and the audience sits only from the three sides. From the fourth side, the performers used to come. Moving ahead, the two other types of the theater. Yes, so this is the end stage theater. If you could see on the screen, the end stage theater. They are those that have an audience on only one side. The audience is on the one side and the performers are on the other side. And the rest two sides are the walls. Okay, so such stages are most often rectangular. They are found to be rectangular in shape or square in shape, but they can also be triangular. But that is, in that case, they are known as the corner stage theaters. So this kind of end stage theaters where at the one end there are the audience and on the other end we have the performers. And another kind of theater which is rarely being used, it is the flexible theater. Now, flexible theater, what is the flexible theater? It may not use a stage at all and may have the performers featured on the floor at the same level as the audience. Means the audience and the performers, they are on the same level, and most of the time these theaters are also known as the black box theater because the walls of the room, they are typically painted black. So if you can see in the picture also, you could see that only the light is in the center, but they are on the same level. Okay, it has not been uplifted. The stage has not been uplifted. Rather, they are in the same level. But then it is also known as the black box theater only because it is the walls of the room, they are typically painted in black. Moving further. Now, the importance of drama and theater in education, of course, it is inspirational. It challenges perception, changes attitudes and behavior. It improves self-esteem, motivation, and achievement. It maximizes learning. It allows students to express a range of action. It delivers important messages that are easily understood and, most importantly, remembered. There is a certain difference between education, drama in education, and theater in education. Now, what is the difference between drama and education and theater in education? In drama and education, it is in the school curriculum. It is a method and a subject. It can be a method of teaching and it can also be a subject. And as the curriculum subject, it uses various dramatic elements, acting out, and so many things are involved. But when we talk about theater in education, therein a professional team of trained and experienced actors or teachers, they need to prepare relevant materials, projects, experiments to be presented in the school. And these programs, they are usually devised and researched by the team or the teachers and of a small group of 1 or 2 classes of a specific age. The aim of the program is essentially educational and it uses theater, drama in education, and teaching techniques for educational purposes. So dramatization is something, teachers, which we can do in the classroom as well. But when we talk about theater in education, it has to be put in the stage, on stage. It has to be on the stage only. Moving ahead. Now, how can we include drama and theater in the classroom? Now, first way is to act out a dialogue. We can act out a dialogue. What can we do? We can pair them up. We can give them certain roles. They all can work together to act the dialogue, but they have to find it out at how they're going to stand on the stage so that each of the participant is visible. It is not that one performer stands in front of the other performer and do not let the visibility to be seen by the audience, by the audience. So that is very, very important, that they have to find out themselves that there is no blocking while they are playing their part. When we talk about the readers theater, of course, reading is very, very important. They have been given the handout copies of one act play or some story, and then they read the play from their seats without acting it out. And reading is something which makes the students empathetic, it makes the students knowledgeable, and it stimulates the imagination. It is also something which enhances the vocabulary, it improves the memory, it builds confidence. And in addition to that, teachers, it also improves the writing skills, the focus, the concentration, and in that way, it broadens the horizon of the students. So that is why readers theater can be many a times very helpful for the students. They can also be asked to act out the story. Now, we can have the students act out the story or the part of the story. They can work in group and they can be assigned roles. And again, they have to see that there should be no blocking. Means that each and every participant should be equally visible. In addition to this, there is another way in which their vocabulary can be enhanced, their memory can be enhanced, they can be put up with a lot of confidence, and that is writing the dialogue for a scene. They can watch a brief clip of a movie without the sound, okay? And then the students have to write the dialogue for it on their own. And of course, it would improve their writing skills, their focus, their concentration, everything. And this will enhance their vocabulary, their imagination. That is also something which is very important. It will also help to stimulate their imagination. Now, hot seating. Hot seating involves a student or actor in a role who are interviewed by others, such as the class group, acting coach, or the teacher. The character is asked questions which pertain to their role. Now, hot seating, when you understand it in simple language, teachers, it is something in which one person, he becomes the interviewee, and the other classmates, they become the interviewer. They ask several questions to them. That, for example, if we take the story on the face of it, and we make the character Mr. Lamb, who's sitting on the hot seat. You could see in the picture how the hot seat is. Mr. Lamb is sitting over there, and then now the teachers, the teacher, the students, everybody asks him the question like, "What do you think about Derry? Isn't it true that you are a lonely man? What makes you happy? Are you happy living alone in this big house? Why didn't you react when Derry has entered into your garden?" And so many questions. It can be asked to the student, to the interviewee, and of course, this is going to help to increase their imagination. Their spontaneous thinking can be enhanced through this, and it also helps. It will give the participant to share the idea about the characters, and the students also will practice to answer the question in that way. Moving ahead. Role play. Of course, role play means pretending to be someone else, and this is why it is also known as the pretend play. It helps the children to boost imagination and creativity. It is essential in life of children because it helps to develop empathetic role playing. That helps the children to learn how to interact in various situations. They can apply content in a relevant context that will prove beneficial in life. During role-playing activities, children hear many sounds, many words, and thus develop language and communication skill. Of course, role play is something which is very, very important. We can do role play with each one of them anytime. Any small part of the story can be taken. Any small part of a historical event can be taken. Any small chapter can be taken, and the students can enact it. And when they do it on their own in the classroom itself, of course, their language will improve, their communication skills will improve, and they will become confident. It is going to boost their imagination, creativity, and will also make them confident. Now, this is again very important, and most of the people are not aware of this. What is improv? Improv, which is also known as improvisation, it is a form of a live theater, teachers, in which the plot, the characters, and the dialogue are made up in a moment, on the spot. Often the improvisers will take the suggestion from the audience. They take the suggestion from the audience and they draw on some other source of inspiration to get started. Means that most of the thing in improv, they are not predetermined what is going to be spoken. They are not pre-practiced what is going to be done. It is only that they do it on the spot. And one of the best example for improv is the Kapil Sharma show. We see most of the time, we see most of us view the Kapil Sharma show, and most of the dialects which has been spoken by him, it is on the spot. So that is the best example of improv. Moving ahead. Reader's theater, which we have also discussed, that it is a dramatic presentation of the written work in a script form, and readers read from a script, and reading parts are divided amongst the readers. No memorization is required for this. No costume is being required for this. No special light is required. Just script are held by the readers and they just read it out, so that it enhances their vocabulary, it improves their focus, it improves their concentration. Now, charades. Now, teachers, most of the time we have been playing dumb charades. It's very often been played by us. But then when we hear the word dumb charades, we always think of the movies which we have been playing with our friends, with our family members. But this game charade can even be played in the classroom. And the students' vocabulary can be enhanced using this game. It is a team game, actually. Each member tries to communicate with the other, and they have to enact a particular word, not a song, not a movie, but a particular word or a particular phrase, and they can enact by expressing each syllable or each word, but then the action would be silent. And for example, let me give you an example. Likewise, I take a bottle in the classroom and I turn it. If I take a bottle and I turn it and I ask the students what is the word, I don't ask, I just, it is charade, I be silent. And they would say upside down. So that's a new word which they love. Down. The bottle is not related to upside down, but when I turn it, it is upside down. If I touch quickly, if I go to a student and touch quickly to the student and with a flat hand, and I just move from there, and the word would be pat. So in this way, various actions can be done in the classroom, and expressing the words with a silent action, and then they can come up with various words which would, of course, enhance their vocabulary. Moving ahead. Mind drama, of course. The theatrical technique of expressing an idea or mood or portraying a character entirely by gesture and bodily movement without the use of any words. That is what is mime. Mime is very important because it is an effective way of encouraging students to develop their acting skills in terms of body language, like the posture, the movement, the gesture, and so on. And of course, it would help them to gain a greater awareness of its importance as a form of communication. Now, Sir Charles Spencer Charlie, who we most commonly known as Charlie Chaplin, he was considered and is considered to be one of the most important figure in the film industry. And he was the most important mime actor. So the mime drama is having its significance wherein we can let the students to improve their posture, their movements, their gesture, and all these categories should be used in the classroom in our day-to-day teaching. one word story. One word story, teachers. This is very interesting, and you all can try this in your classrooms. This is like one person, each one of the children in the classroom would say one word, one single word. And when they speak a single word, the person to the left would say the another word. One word, one child say, for example, one child say once, the person who's sitting to the left would say there, and then even left was, and then from one row to the other row, and this would continue till the it reaches to the child who's sitting in the very last row. And many times you would see that one child, for example, if you say what is there on the screen, once there was 3 little turnips. So first child said once, the second child said there, third child said was, the fourth one said 3, the fifth one said little, but the sixth one said turnips. And then the seventh one, for example, say they, the eighth one say were, the ninth one say all, and the 10th one say, for example, close, and the 11th one say enemies. So close enemies. And then it goes on and on and on by adding just one word by each student. So it is, sometimes you would see that it would turn into a very meaningful story, and some other time you would find that it would turn into a very hilarious kind of story. But then what is most important in this, teachers, that each and every child in the classroom would participate. Each and every child would participate. There would be no child who would not participate or who would be just sitting idle at the back. And everybody has to concentrate as well to find out that what the other person has said, so that he can add a meaningful word to it, so that it can be transformed into a good story. Likewise, the second sentence, when it was being made, they were all close enemies. Okay, now what are close enemies? We can also teach them, literary devices using this. Now we can tell them that close enemies. Now this is an oxymoron, because someone who's close, how he can be enemies. So various things can be taught. Grammar can be taught, that why if somebody says was and you correct and rectify that it is not was and it would be were over there. So in this process of one word story, they would also learn how to they would learn grammar, they would learn literary devices, and their vocabulary would enhance. So to conclude, indulging in drama and theater, it helped in the enhancement of the communication and social skills. It helps in fostering cooperation, teamwork, collaboration, nurturing imaginations, strengthening critical thinking, learning culture, reinforcing concepts, fostering self-confidence and personal growth. With that, we come to the end of this session. Thank you, everyone. I'll be sharing the attendance link soon. Yes, I have shared the attendance link, teachers. You can fill the attendance link. And thank you everyone for such praise. Would like to conduct even more magnificent sessions with you all. Hopefully it was a good learning experience for you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anita ma'am, Manita ma'am, Barkha ma'am, Rajesh sir, Tanuja ma'am, Aarti ma'am. I believe everybody has received the attendance link. Thank you, Deepika ma'am. Thank you, Ramesh sir, for such praise. Thank you, Asif sir. Thank you, Lipika ma'am, for such praise. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sanjana ma'am, Lakshmi ma'am. Thank you, Kiran ma'am, Supriti ma'am, Manju ma'am, Imrana ma'am, Rakesh sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone. I'm just overwhelmed with such beautiful response. Hope I'll be coming up again with some very good and informative session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Yasmin, man. Thank you, Dharmesh, sir. Thank you, Aditya, sir. Maya, ma'am. Thank you, Meenu, ma'am. Thank you, Moshmi, ma'am. Thank you, Zarina, ma'am. Saima, ma'am. Ishrani, ma'am. Thank you so much, teachers. You have shown enormous love to me today. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mohit sir, Mahinder sir, Krishna sir, Abhishek sir, Sanju ma'am. Okay, teachers, thank you so much, all of you. Hopefully we'll meet again. So I'm ending the meeting now. Thank you. Thank you, Anjana ma'am, Alka ma'am. Thank you for so much of love and so much of praise. Thank you.